Y'all, we're back with a Joe Rogan experience talking about aliens living in the deepest parts of our ocean. Can I just say I am glad that Joe Rogan is back on every platform because he has some great conversations that are very open without any judgment, and I appreciate that. Let's jump in.
Compelling. There's two.
Well, don't they think aliens could live in the ocean? So, I mean,
Yes.
that's how much.
That was Jeremy Corbell was talking about
Yeah.
that the other day. That they, it's hard to say like what kind of information he's getting, how accurate it is, but they're basically saying, think about the movie Abyss, where the aliens lived underwater. He was like, that's probably what's going on.
Yeah.
There's
That's
some
kind
sort
of
alien base underwater.
that's kind of petrifying, but then it makes me think about all of the pressures under the water. It's a lot to think about.
They hide. That's where they go to be undetected.
Do you think you're going to see it?
I don't think they need to hide.
Bigfoot or aliens?
Aliens. Like, where it's like, oh, like we have to like talk to them now. We have to like interact with them.
There's a video that is impossible to ignore. There's some
I'm
things
sorry,
that are impossible to ignore.
we have to talk to them now.
And then there's eyewitness testimony
agree.
of people who are rock solid, totally
Good mental health, ready to, yep.
Yeah.
who have seen some things. Like the best example is this guy, Commander David Fravor, who was off the coast of San Diego in 2004. And this is corroborated by multiple points of data. They had this this tracking system that tracks things above Earth's atmosphere, and they found this thing went from above 60,000 feet above sea level to 50 feet above sea level in less than a second. They have no idea how it's doing this. They have no idea. There's no method of propulsion that's visible. They followed this thing. They locked onto it. It blocked their radar. It blocked their tracking systems, rather. And then it
That's crazy
jetted
to
off
me.
at an impossible rate of speed. And then the Nimitz relocated
Oh, yes.
thing at their cat point. The cat
I
point
love,
is where-
sorry, y'all. I also love Joe Rogan, not because he's always open about the interview and isn't judgmental, but the man, the way that he retains knowledge, he's like a well of knowledge. He just like sits there and you can tell, especially when he speaks in later episodes, you can tell that he truly absorbs everything that you're saying and like holds it in because he retains so much knowledge. I love it.
the fighter pilots, when they're doing this test, they're doing this exercise, they were supposed to meet at this very specific point, and that's where this thing had gone. Like this thing had read their manifest and knew or read
Oh, wow.
their plans and knew where they were going.
What's wild?
That is way more compelling to me than Bigfoot. The Bigfoot thing is fun, but the alien thing is fun and likely. There's something going on. And so I go back and forth. Sometimes I think
Well,
some sort of government drone that's like so sophisticated and they're totally.
but this is what's, it makes me think like maybe Bigfoot's just something that was here before that can't deal with the way the environment is now. And us.
Making sure that we make this journey from territorial apes with thermonuclear weapons into some sort of an
Advanced being.
galactic society, and that there's a very crucial moment where the instincts of these tribal people, which is all of us, all human beings, are these tribal
yeah.
territorial people, where you have to keep them from sabotaging any possible future progress by blowing themselves up, by killing each other,
By ending ourselves.
And then then when you say that, they go, "Yeah, that was it." Is that easy?
Yeah.
Like not that easy. Like, you go,
Yeah,
that's about
Yeah.
trying to keep you guys
That's
from
about
blowing
it.
yourselves up. This is like,
Yeah.
but maybe that's like the natural thing that you see, like when civilizations advance. Like there's a very precarious moment where like they have the capability of blowing themselves up, but the reason and the logic to not do it. But they also have these instincts to control resources and take over territories. They still have those instincts, but they have to bypass that. They have to figure out how to, and so that's when aliens start circling and just keeping an eye on us.
Yeah.
'Cause that's the
I mean,
primary.
that's what you would hope, right? Instead of like them attacking us.
Yes.
'Cause then
I
I
just,
think if they were going to attack us, they would have already done it.
they would have killed us already.
They
Agreed.
really could
Agreed.
do all those things. They could probably take.
That
out
we'd be
our-
done. We wouldn't even be here.
Apparently, the stories are that they're able to shut down nuclear launches and nuclear facilities, and that they do that, and they hover over military bases, and that they just shut everything down just to let you know, hey, bitch, you know, I can
That's
We
wild.
flip
we
that
got that
switch.
and you don't.
Don't get too fucking squirrely out
That's
there.
so
You weirdo.
crazy.
It's a technology to to basically make it harder for radars to see you. You know, and that's the whole thing.
It's just doing like multiple episodes. It's like a clip.
Airplanes that are nose on.
I'm okay with that. I love it.
Think of a barn door. If you're looking at the whole barn door, it's really easy to see. If I turn the barn door sideways where it's really thin, it's going to be a lot harder for you to see it.
Got it.
So that's the easiest, most basic way to look at this. So keep going. You can play again. And you can look, the airplane is still sitting at 20,000 feet. It's doing 250 knots. He's going to go through different modes and try and lock it. And it's just
look
kind
at
of
that
sitting,
thing.
and all of a sudden, as the video goes on, I think it's a minute and a half long. See, it's going to try and reacquire. It recenters the pod. So it's
trying.
drifting to the left. The Hornet is
UFO?
still on the same heading, just kind of hanging out, and they're just filming this thing.
And this is the one that drops into the water with no splash, right?
When you see it on a full, because this, you think digital, you'd be able to get a 1-for-1 copy. Unlike, when you copy your album to a cassette, you lose a little quality. Well, you still do in digital world, and off it goes to the left, and that's pretty fast to leave that field of view. When we have big monitors that we look at these when they come back, so we're looking at the original tapes. So
play the end of that again, please, Jamie.
And the field of view would be drastic because
how fast?
It's expanded outward, so this thing would have gone.
It takes off to the left. How fast is that going?
I would say pretty fast. It's an estimate. If we had ranging, you could obviously do the triangle and go, hey, because we know how big the field of view is. But for something to leave the field of view that fast with the pod just staring is pretty fast. I mean, it's like
They would have to go faster than the jet itself.
No, because we can't.
No.
I don't care what airplane is. So let's just use that
thing that we have.
No,
because we can't. I don't care what airplane is. So let's just
love that.
F-22. That's probably one of the. It's probably the best airplane in the world right now, performance-wise. It can't take off like that, especially if it's a hover. I mean, you're talking something that's just sitting in space in the wind, and then it just all of a sudden accelerates. Airplanes don't.
Which again, we're talking about something, as they said, they're talking about G-forces, they're talking about wind resistance, they're talking about the resistances that we feel here on the Earth. And it wouldn't make sense for them to just travel without experiencing that, especially at the speed they go through. You would think the G-force would destroy them, especially you don't see any acceleration, any engine, anything like that. If we go into what Terrence Howard was saying, it would make sense that when you decouple, there is no gravity. What it is the force of electricity acting upon us at this frequency. Oh my God, it's a whole thing. You need to watch it. But it makes so much sense on how these UAP, UFOs, even things that we make, if we actually utilize what he's saying, would be able to travel through any medium and not experience the forces of nature, which it requires a complete change in your perception of reality. Which reality is perception. So if we can change that perception, we can effectively change our reality. Woo! Whole thing. I want to do an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience because I enjoyed it. I would love to speak to Terrence Howard, although I don't think that would be possible. He's very famous. But that episode is like 3 hours, maybe more long. And I don't want to just, lift Joe's video. So I would recommend that you go watch it. We may watch a few clips on the channel, but you really need to go and watch it. I'm actually going to have it linked in the description below, as well as this clip video.
See, there's IR zoomed in, and you would see a plume if that was an airplane.
It's creepy.
Right.
It takes off.
Yeah.
With active jamming, it's intelligently controlled. There's no rotors, there's no plumes, there's no exhaust, there's no tail fin, there's no tail number. This thing goes from a standstill, takes off. It's a propulsion system we don't have in our inventory, and no other nation does. That's how it's understood by the government.
Now that's say if the fastest plane on Earth was trying to do that same maneuver, this system would be crushed
inside.
It would stay with it until it got to the limits of the pod, as far as looking to the left. But
right.
And the radar would see it. I mean, you get close enough, you're gonna, everything becomes visible because you get burned through with radar and how radars actually work. This one is
not doing it.
You can't tell me. It's performance beyond. I mean, it's like when we saw it disappear when it flew in front of my nose. I'm talking something. I'm within a half mile of it, looking at it, and it gets in front of me and just disappears. So we'll just go to something that everyone knows is fast. Let's just say SR-71 that's doing Mach 3. the visibility is 50 miles. So even at 35 miles a minute, I'm going to be able to see this thing turn into a
Leaving.
dot as it goes off into the
Yeah.
horizon. For
This you
probably
couldn't
10
even
minutes.
see.
The thing that we saw disappeared in a second.
But imagine if the thing, the UAP, again, I just keep going back. This episode was just wow. Especially as someone who meditates a lot, him talking on the frequencies, wow. If this UAP decouples from the Earth is going to move away as fast as the Earth is going. If it decouples from the galaxy itself, imagine how fast our galaxy is zooming through space, with the Earth zooming, with the sun and the solar system, everything at that same time. You wouldn't be able to perceive the motion of of the galaxy's movement. We can't perceive it now. So if this thing just stays still and the entirety of the galaxy moves at the speed at which it's seemingly hurling across space or expanding outward, depending on what's happening, this thing is just gonna. You're not gonna see it turn into a dot. It's just not gonna be there anymore.
Just gone. And that's
Just
from two
gone.
different angles.
Just
the other airplane's
gone.
12,000 feet above me, 'cause we get close to it at about 12,000 feet. So the other airplane's above me looking down, and when it
Same
disappeared,
thing.
I said, "Do you guys see it?" And they said, "No, it's gone."
I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's not what I thought it was going to be when I saw the name of the episode. I didn't think it was going to be clips together. But again, I feel that Joe Rogan is very unbiased and he is skeptical in his own way, and he asks the right questions, and he's not afraid to have guests in and have real conversations with them. So I appreciate his podcast and the information that we get from it. And again, even though we kind of knew that there are unidentified submerged objects, we've seen the Nimitz machine, we've seen a lot of this stuff. It is great to have it compiled in one area and kind of get a refresher, especially with all the information that's coming out now and everything that's changing in real time. I love it, y'all. I love this video. It's going to be linked in the description below, as is that Terrence Howard video, which hopefully we can dive more into a little bit later down the road. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Smash that like if you enjoyed this. Smash dislike if you didn't. Let your opinions be known. Smash subscribe if you haven't already. And keep looking up.